feel like my body is betraying me. I just want to go for a walk in the park with my wife, but my legs are shaking.
I'm over 70. Do you really think I can do those exercises?
Age is not the end, but a reminder that it is time to slow down, understand ourselves better, and take better care of ourselves. I am Dr. Noah Jupe, a physiotherapist specializing in mobility and health rehabilitation for people over 50, currently based in London. In my 20-plus years of practice, I have met countless men and women who come to me with the same fear, not of getting older, but of one day their bodies will stop listening to them. They are afraid of falling, of becoming weak, of becoming dependent. And sadly, most of them do not realize that it can change if they just start in the right way. Not long ago, I met Mr. James Walker, 74 years old, a calm man, a former high school teacher in Oxford. He walked into the clinic with a slow gait, slightly slumped shoulders, and tired eyes. "Doctor, I feel like my body is betraying me," he said. "I just want to go for a walk in the park with my wife, but my legs are shaking." I looked at him and smiled. "Your body isn't betraying you, James. It's just waiting to be redirected." When I started guiding him James Walker practice, he hesitated a little. "Dr. Jupe," he said, "I'm over 70. Do you really think I can do those exercises?" I smiled. "James, I don't think I know you can. It's not about age. It's about how you start. I always tell my patients that no body is too late to recover. Only the body has been neglected for too long. We start with the first movement, wall push-ups." I told him to stand about half a meter from the wall, put his hands on it at shoulder level, and then slowly lower himself forward as if greeting an old friend. His hands were shaking a little, his elbows stiff, but after a few times his movements began to smooth out. "It feels like I'm pressing my chest against the wall," he said, laughing and gasping for breath. "Exactly," I replied. "That's my chest, shoulders, and arms working again." And 2044, and they were mentioned Dove. This exercise is simple but incredibly effective. It activates the muscles that help us lift, push, and balance the seemingly small things that determine our ability to be independent as we age. "You know, James," I explained, "as the shoulders and chest weaken, simply pushing yourself up from a chair becomes a challenge. Push-ups are a reminder to your body how to do that." After a few days, he called me, his voice excited. "I can do it 10 times without stopping." I smiled. "Good. Now let's move on to the second exercise. Squat. A simple but powerful exercise." I showed him to stand with his feet shoulder-width apart, keep his back straight, and then slowly lower himself as if he were about to sit down in a chair. He frowned. "I'm afraid my knees won't be able to handle it." I told him to put a chair behind me, just sit on it and touch it lightly before standing up. "That's the safest squat for smart people, not reckless people," I said. "I'm joking." The first few times, he could only get halfway down. His thighs trembled, his breathing quickened, but he held on. I gently put my hand on his shoulder. "Just 10 seconds a day, and your body will change." And sure enough, after only 2 weeks, he could no longer hold onto the chair. His legs had regained the strength he thought he had lost long ago. I said, "James, you see, we are not teaching a new body. We are awakening motor memory. The body always remembers what it has done. It just needs to be reminded." After squats, we move on to the final exercise, plank, the exercise that most people dread the most, but also the one that brings the most obvious results. I told him to lie face down on the mat, propped up on his elbows and toes, keeping his body in a straight line. He tried it, and after 5 seconds, he fell over laughing. "I don't think I've ever shaken so much." I laughed out loud. "That's your abs and back saying thank you for finally working." Planks are a core exercise, the group of muscles that control all of your body's movements. When your core is weak, you lose balance, fall, and get lower back pain. When it's strong, everything changes. Your posture is straighter, your stride is more stable, and your confidence returns. I told him to hold it for just 10 seconds at a time, then gradually increase it to 20-30 seconds over time. 3 weeks later, I saw James again for a follow-up appointment. He walked in, his shoulders squared, his eyes brighter. "I can plank for almost a minute now, Doc," he said, his smile wide. I asked, "How does it feel?" He replied, "I feel like I'm 40 again." I nodded, not surprised at all. When the body is working properly, It sends positive signals to the brain, helps improve mood, reduce anxiety, and increase happiness. A study at King's College London showed that just 15 minutes of light exercise a day helps people over 60 reduce the risk of depression by 30% and significantly improve sleep quality. When James left, I said to him, "Keep going. But remember, it's not a race. Don't try to be better than anyone else, just better than you were yesterday." He smiles. I think I've finally learned to love my body again. In Ray Depson. If you are reading this, remember that strength lies not in muscle, but in perseverance. These 3 exercises, push-ups, squats, and planks, may seem simple, but they are the foundation for a strong, flexible, and free body at any age. In the next section, I'll walk you through how to do each of these exercises safely at home, even if you've never exercised before. But before we get to that, if James's story makes you think about yourself, follow the channel, subscribe, and leave comment number 1 below. I will send you specific instructions to start your recovery journey. First of all, nutrition after the age of 50. The body's ability to synthesize protein decreases, which means that if we don't pay attention, our muscles will gradually weaken, even if we exercise. I advise James to maintain a balanced diet, prioritizing sources of protein, high-quality protein like salmon, eggs, lean meats, Greek yogurt, and beans. Think of every meal as a fueling session for your muscles, I say. Protein is the building block that helps your body rebuild after a hard day's work. I also remind him to add good fats, olive oil, walnuts, avocados, and fatty fish. They act as lubricants for the joints and the heart, I explain. And finally, I don't forget to emphasize the importance of vitamin D. Every morning, go outside for 15 minutes, breathe deeply, and let the sunlight touch your skin. It is the best free medicine your body can get. Then I talk about motor. I told him, the body loves consistency over intensity. James only needed 20 minutes a day, broken into 3 small chunks. Morning, a few minutes stretching and light squats to wake up the muscles. Midday, walk around the house or out in the garden to maintain blood circulation. And at night, before going to bed, gentle back and hip stretches to relieve tension. I call it 20-minute daily ritual, a small but consistent habit that helps maintain strength and flexibility without putting stress on the body. Finally, rest. I explained to him that most muscle recovery happens not during exercise, but during deep sleep. When you sleep well, your body produces growth hormone, which is what repairs muscle and replenishes energy. I walked him through a little pre-bedtime routine. Turn off your phone and TV at least 30 minutes before lying down. Drink a warm cup of herbal tea or hot milk. Practice 4-6-8 breathing technique. Inhale for 4 seconds, hold for 6 seconds, exhale for 8 seconds. After a week, James sent me a brief text. I slept better than ever. I smiled, knowing his body had finally entered a state of rest. Comprehensive recovery. Dr. Jupe, he said, his voice low but full of excitement. This morning I climbed 2 flights of stairs at home without holding on. I feel really strong again. I laughed, looked at him for a moment, and replied, "It's not the stairs that have changed. James, it's you who have changed." Moments like these remind me why I started this work. The strength James has comes not just from training, but from perseverance, discipline, and faith that the body can still improve, even in its 70s. I told him, the human body is an amazing machine, James, but to keep it running smoothly, we need 3 things: the right fuel, the right movement, and the right rest. I show you how to maintain long-term results by 3 golden rules that I often share with all my patients: nutrition, exercise, and rest. What James is experiencing is common. After age 50, muscle mass declines by an average of 1-2% per year, a phenomenon known as sarcopenia, age-related muscle degeneration. As our muscles weaken, especially in our hips, thighs, and backs, we lose control of our movements, fall more easily, and simply feel older. But luckily, science shows that strength can be restored at any age, as long as you know how to exercise properly. I told James that there were only 3 simple movements he needed to remember: push-ups, squats, and planks. No equipment, no gym, just a small space in your living room and 5 minutes a day. They're not just exercises, I explain, but the foundation for your body to maintain mastery. I start with push-up, an exercise that many people think is for young people. In fact, just leaning your hands against the wall and lowering your body slightly is enough to activate the chest, shoulder, and arm muscles. This exercise not only increases the strength of the upper body, but also helps blood circulate better, improving the cardiovascular system. Next is squat, a natural move that strengthens the legs, hips, and back areas, important for balance and stability. Finally, plank, a pose that keeps you straight on your elbows and toes, helps strengthen your core muscles, the center that controls all movements of the body. James, I said, the human body is like a bridge. If the middle is weak, the whole bridge will collapse. He laughed but nodded. We began with gentle, slow exercises, focusing on proper posture and even breathing. After a few minutes, his forehead was beaded with sweat, but a smile gradually appeared. I remember the day James returned a month later. He walked in straighter, smiling confidently. "I've just finished tidying my garden, doctor," he said. "I think I'm still stronger than I thought." "I don't doubt it," I replied. If you're listening to this story and see yourself somewhere in James's shoes, a sore back, weak knees, or a lack of confidence when moving, remember that your body can still change. You just need to start, gently and persistently. 3 weeks later, James Walker, he returned to my office with a smile that was different from the first day. He walked in lightly, no longer holding onto the wall or limping. "Dr. Jupe," he said, "I have been doing the 3 exercises every day, and this morning, for the first time in years, I bent down to tie my shoes without back pain." I laughed, genuinely pleased. "It's not just your back that's getting better, James. It's your body slowly regaining confidence in itself. This Podomain 47 Brachesiverdine." I explained to him that physical progress always starts with small steps. As the body feels stronger, the brain automatically reactivates the areas that control movement and balance. The body and mind begin to talk to each other more, something we often lose in middle age due to sedentary habits and anxiety. I told him, now is the time to not only train your body, but also train your life. This is one may be over disturbs. We started practicing what I call the golden recovery loop. 3 interconnected elements: exercise, nutrition, and rest. If one element is overlooked, the other 2 will not be able to function properly. I said, "James, the human body is like an orchestra. Each instrument, muscles, joints, heart, brain, has its own role. If you focus on one part and ignore the others, the music will never be harmonious." First, let's talk about exercise properly. Once he was familiar with the 3 basic exercises, I guided him through a few small adjustments to improve their effectiveness. I said, in the morning, just spend 10 minutes on a light warm-up, rotate your wrists and ankles, take deep breaths, and do 5 shallow squats. Midday, when your body starts to feel tired, get up from your chair and do some back and hip stretches. At night, before going to bed, just do a light plank for 15 seconds to activate your core muscles, help blood circulation, and reduce lower back pain. I emphasize, it is not necessary to practice a lot. Just practice regularly. The body loves consistency more than extremes. Then we talk about restorative nutrition. I asked him what he ate during the day. He smiled. Same as everyone else. Tea in the morning, sandwiches at lunch, and a light dinner. I shook my head slightly. That's the kind of eating that never gives your muscles a chance to recover. I instruct him to strengthen quality protein at every meal. Eggs, fish, lean meat, or Greek yogurt. Think of protein as the building blocks that help rebuild your body after a workout, I say. In addition, I recommend supplementing good fats from olive oil, walnuts, and salmon, which help reduce inflammation and nourish joints. And in particular, I mention vitamin D and sunlight. Just 15 minutes in the morning. Go outside to breathe the air and let the sunlight touch your skin. It is natural medicine for your bones and spirit. Finally, I come tourist, the factor that many people underestimate the most. James, muscles don't grow during exercise, but during rest. I guide him through a simple breathing exercise before bed. 4-6-8 method. Inhale for 4 seconds, hold for 6 seconds, and exhale for 8 seconds. It helps the brain stop thinking, the body relax, and the heart slow down, I say. After a week, he texted me, "Doctor, for the first time in years, I slept through the night." I smiled, knowing his body was finally entering a real recovery phase. The 3 elements: Exercise, nutrition, rest began to come full circle. His body became stronger, his mind became more stable, and most importantly, he felt proactive in his life. One morning he said to me, "Doctor, I don't exercise anymore because I'm afraid of getting weak. I exercise because I like the feeling of being truly alive." That sentence has stayed with me forever. "That's the goal of all recovery, James," I said. "Not to become young again, but to become freer in your own body." He smiled, looking out the window where the morning light was shining in. "I think I have found the part of me I thought I had lost." "There's reasons," I nodded and replied softly. "And that is true power." In what follows, I will recount the special moment when James reached the greatest turning point in his journey, when he not only recovered physically, but also found his faith and meaning in life. Because after all, a healthy body is only truly valuable when it is accompanied by a free spirit. And if you're listening to this story, trust that your body's still subject to change. Whether you're 55, 65, or 75, your strength, flexibility, and zest for life are always there, just waiting for you to tap into it. Thank you for bearing with me, Dr. Noah Jupe. If you want to get detailed instructions on recovery exercises, nutrition, and health maintenance plans after 50, follow, subscribe, and leave a comment. No, one under. And remember, health doesn't come from perfection, but from daily persistence. Your journey can start today.